What's going on, guys? Back at it again here with another video for you. Out here with the homie Jack. That's a stick. Today I'm going to be talking about the differences between a 4-stroke and a 2-stroke out in the woods. Yeah, start it off right, boys. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Hi, Mom. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, we're getting real muddy.
On camera when I die?
Of course. So 4-strokes pretty much have linear power throughout the rev range when you're giving it gas. Whereas 2-strokes, the power varies based on how much throttle you're giving. The higher you get in the RPMs, the more, woohoo, getting a little squirrely. The more throttle you give it and the higher you get in the RPMs, the more, woohoo, the more power the bike gets, which is really fun. And that inconsistency just really makes it a lot harder, but that's where the fun is at. So for trail riding, it really depends on the kind of trails you're riding. If you're in wide open trails and you're really going to be staying at like 1 speed, you're going to be better off with a 4-stroke and preferably a higher CC 4-stroke, because those are made for that kind of riding. The reason my YZ250 was a bad bike for me is because I was using it in smaller trails. I had to be in lower gears, so I wasn't really moving. And it didn't like that. It needs to be moving and get the air flowing to cool down the engine. It was not made to go slow. That bike had to be moving. Now, if you're riding really technical single track, really tight stuff, oh, down he goes. It's one of those days, bro. Woohoo! All right. Nothing more wild than riding over wet rocks on a 2-stroke with ball tires. So now, if you're riding in tight, windy trails like this, a 2-stroke is really good, or a lower CC 4-stroke, because the problem with 4-strokes is they tend to overheat a lot easier than 2-strokes, definitely, especially in my experience. So if you have a higher RPM, or if you have a higher CC 4-stroke, it tends just to be so easy to overheat. Even if you're not on super tight trails, those things really have to be moving. And you got to be in higher gears for them to stay cool. You know, this 2-stroke, I've never had a problem. Even my YZ125, that bike never had a problem with overheating, no matter what kind of riding I was doing. So now, if you're on wide open trails like this is where a 450 4-stroke or even a 250 4-stroke is really gonna do well, because it's wide open. 4-strokes are meant to be kept at consistent speeds, whereas 2-strokes, they're not going to do as well on a kind of trail like this, because they're made to be going up and down in the RPMs. They're not meant to be kept at 1 rev. So this is a good example. Now, you can definitely hit trails that are more open like this, and as long as you go up and down in the RPM gauge with your 2-stroke, it's fine. But in that case, you definitely want a higher CC 2-stroke. If you're going to be riding on the road, doing enduros to get to the woods, you definitely need more than a 125, both in terms of a 4-stroke or a 2-stroke, because neither of those at a 125 are going to do well on the road. You're really just going to kill the engine. Even if you're only using it to go trail to trail, you're better off buying something a little bit bigger. Now, I like 2-strokes better because for me they're more fun. Also, I do a lot of hills. So two strokes, because of the way they're set up, they're a lot easier to lug up hills than a four stroke is. Nice and muddy. I can lug a two-stroke up a hill at a nice slow pace and really pick my line. And I guess the same could be done on a four-stroke. I think it's a little bit easier on a two-stroke, if I'm being honest. But it can be done either way. But if you were on a smaller two-stroke, like a 125, and you're going up hills all the time in woods, it's going to be a lot harder because you really got to be on the throttle to really make power with that bike. Four strokes are definitely easier for the woods. I really feel like two strokes, like I said, are more fun. They're not easier, but the difficulty that you get from them is what makes it so much more fun, in my opinion. Bikes I would recommend for the dirt would be a 252 stroke, or you know, if you want to get a KTM, those bikes are pretty much built to be enduros. So even if you do a 200, 250, 300, 300s might be a little bit big unless you're on more open riding. If you're in tight trails and stuff, you probably want a 200 or a 250. I think this YZ250 is perfect, at least for what I'm using it for. If you're looking for a four-stroke, I would say something like this WR250 is pretty good. Any 254 stroke will be good, but anything bigger than that, I think you're going to struggle. I think it's going to be too big and it's going to be too heavy unless you're on really open trails. So those are for like all around dirt riding in the woods.